say, they asked him, what would you want it done when you're gone? And he said, when I'm gone, I don't care what you do. And with the poetry, I'm very impressed with the support of my 3 sons. Your father would be proud of you, because instead of buying cards, I got poems every holiday. And I have a whole collection. I'm thinking of having it published, but it's very private. I want to thank you again for coming out. I'm telling you, I'm overwhelmed by the support. And I think I would be too. And thank you very much. And that's it.
She can go first.
I'm Lorna. I'm Hi's favorite niece, Lorna, as he used to tell me. And he and I shared something very special together. As it turns out, growing up, I always thought that it was really, that somehow the way it worked out is that everybody was born to some relative of theirs that they had a close birthday with. My brother and my aunt from my other side of the family had birthdays a day apart, and guess what? My birthday is April 28th, and Uncle Hi is April 29th. So growing up, I always felt this very strong connection to him as a birthday twin, as a kindred spirit. And it was really special that we got to share growing up birthdays and celebrations together like that. So consequently, every year I do try. I'm sure there were gaps in the time, but I did try to call him and say hello and happy birthday, because I was thinking of him at the same time. And because of that, and also because of the fact that I am in fact 56 years old, and that's well, I will be 56 shortly. And I'm the oldest of all the cousins on our side of the family. And yes, Joel was supposed to be the girl, but he is so cute, and he's so cute when he was born and growing up that we forgave him for being a guy. He's a keeper, right? Anyway, the thing is that, so I really feel like I had this special bond, and in recent years, and I've been to Boulder a few times with my husband, and unfortunately not with my kids, but to see Eleanor and Hi, I always felt like this special, like a wink wink, like he and I had some special bond. And he used to sort of get that I felt that way about him, but he was really kind of reserved. He never quite that, which is why I'm the favorite niece, Lorna. There's also a favorite niece, Terry, and there are a few other favorite nieces out there. Hi was the second in the lineup of the Solomon crew. My mother, Jean, is the eldest, and then Hi, and then Manny, my cousin Terry's dad. And he was much younger than Hi, 6 years younger. My mother and Hi are only a few years apart. And my mother completely and totally adored her middle brother. And as she would always say, that he was the favorite in the family. She got to do all the hard work, and he just got all the accolades. And maybe because of his personality and his showmanship and other things, and his certainly well-known good looks, that was perhaps true. Indeed. But Uncle Hi was somebody, quite extraordinary. And as a kid growing up, and even as an adult, I always felt, first of all, a couple things. One is that he was really a trailblazer. To have done what he did and sort of break the family, box and tradition, and met Aunt Eleanor and married her and sort of did everything that was opposite of perhaps the messaging that he got as a young man growing up. I mean, that was extraordinary. That was like, wow, you were able to do that and be so successful and have these ultimately fabulous 3 cousins of mine. I mean, that was like really great and really brave and really self-confident. And that was a lot of not what I saw coming out of that family. So that was really special to me that he was able to do that. And certainly, as the guys have expressed, his love for my aunt was extraordinary. But there was somehow something of this exotic. We lived in Northeast Philadelphia in the 1960s and 70s. It had its interesting traditions. I don't know that we would want to translate that anywhere, like plastic slipcovers on sofas and, lots of flock wallpaper. It wasn't really kind of I don't know, it had its own fashion statement, but I don't know, it didn't resonate with me. But going to Hi and Eleanor's was exotic because there was Danish modern furniture. There was dark coffee that just smelled like it came out of in small ceramic cups, not ceramic, china. And everything there was just so exotic and special and different and European that it just had a special, like, I always felt that it was just extraordinary to be there, and I was transported to a different place and time. The other thing that, I'm sorry to hear about the mechanic thing, fellas, but I can see that in myself and my brother that didn't translate too well either, but what was, you missed a point here. And the point is that my uncle and my aunt together were very good at decorating. It wasn't a mechanical thing, it was an art thing. So the art and photographs in their home were different and more interesting and more worldly than I felt like in my own home. And my uncle and my aunt were always decorating stuff, painting things, putting, stripes and, different things that they did together that I always felt was artistic. And that artistic skill also then translated into food, of course. We have to go back to food. And that my uncle, who I had heard was a quartermaster in the army, which meant food again, and our grandmother, High's mom, my Bubby Solomon, she was well known as an extraordinary cook, and I always felt that translated to my uncle, and that he and Eleonore both did, cooking together, and he was my first sort of guy example of somebody who really went in. I mean, my dad would clean up. He was really good at cleaning up, but he didn't do more than boil water and open a can of tuna fish. But other than that, my dad, can't cook. But Uncle High, could really do that and make delicious and interesting tasting things, even if they were sort of in the New York deli or Philadelphia deli realm. So anyway, I thought he was a great example to me of kind of a new way that guys can do things. And don't forget that art thing. It wasn't something to be overlooked. The last thing I would like to just say and tell is a funny story. So you all heard about my uncle's great sense of humor. So fortunately, my husband and I were able to be here in August of last year, this past summer, and we did get to see Hi and Eleonore. And so there's my uncle sitting there in his chair, looking all suntan and terrific when I know he was so ill. And I have to give my aunt all of the, I know that they loved each other so much, but her incredible caring, for those of you who are connected to that part of his life, her extraordinary devotion and a Florence Nightingale to really be there for his every need. Really, totally overwhelmed by that, and to the credit of everybody how that all works out, but coming from her. Anyway, so there he is, and I said, so, Uncle Hi, how you doing? And I felt bad. I brought him, actually, thinking, what am I going to bring Hi? He doesn't feel good. I know he's not reading. What can I bring him as a gift from Philly to see him in Boulder? So I actually was so excited. I walked into Barnes & Noble, and there was an album of George Carlin, of blessed memory, who just did pass, of all of George Carlin's famous, stand-up comic routines. I said, this is it. It's got Hi written all over it. I don't think he ever did have the patience to hear it, but I did bring it to them. So as I was talking to him about it, he says, yeah, I have a story to tell you. So, and my aunt, I think, her sense of self-confidence and relaxed about such things, she will laugh at this as well. So Hi says, I said, so how you doing? He says, well, we watch a lot of TV around here. I said, yeah, well, I know. He says, you know what? He says, one time this crazy thing happened. I said, what was that? He said, well, sitting with Eleanor, and we were watching, I think, the Olympics, and he says, we're sitting for hours in front of the television on the sofa. He said, Eleanor, he says, we're like couch potatoes here. And she says, constipated? You're constipated? I'll let you know. And he told it with exactly that flair. So his sense of humor sort of carried him through to the very end, and I will miss him dearly. This has been Uncle Hi. I told the guys that this is really a seance. He's here with us. This is us bringing him alive. So we're really all together, all of you here thinking about him. Clearly his energy is with us today, and that's a great thing. And I feel very lucky to be a part of this family, and I think we're very lucky to know him. So continue.
I'm the granddaughter. I'm Mark's daughter, and I've written a short poem.
What's your name, kid?
I said Zelda. Oh yeah, sorry, Zelda. Zelda. Sorry. I've written a short poem in memory. It's called A Funny Man. There was once a funny man who lived and passed. He led a his wife, and they lived together for the rest of his life. They had 3 children, who are now 3 men, and have now raised a family of their own. A comic on stage, he always stayed, even at his ripe old age. All of our hearts he did touch, he will be missed so very much.